was thinking about a topic to speak on this morning, and a couple things came through my mind. And then Thursday evening, as I read Vivian's Inquiring Minds email, it just kind of hit me. And I'm going to read, it's very short, very simplistic, but I'm going to read just the last paragraph. For in the end, the person has only himself through which to live and face the world. If she cannot be herself, she certainly cannot assume any other self, no matter how greatly she might wish to do so. His self is different from every other self. It is unique, and healthiness of mind depends upon his accepting this uniqueness. I thought that was quite profound, very simplistic. Thank you, Vivian. So I decided I might pursue that in thought. And while I was thinking about that, I thought maybe I'd clean my desk off, but it's quite the quagmire. A couple of you have seen it, I think, over the years. It just hasn't gotten better. And I ran across this poem, and I don't know who wrote it. I wish I did, because they deserve a couple gold stars. But I'm going to read it this morning. And it's kind of sing-songy, and some of it's a little humorous, but I think it's like Vivian's email. There's some real meat on the bones. It's called Ego. Your ego will travel with you on this earth and will be your companion for worser or worse. It pretends it's your friend, your best amigo. It pours on the guilt. That's the mark of ego. It's there to protect you, to help you be strong. And it has to remind you you've done it all wrong. You're weak and you're lazy and you don't have a clue. That's your drill sergeant ego trying to motivate you. The ego wants you to be all you can be, so it gives you these pep talks all day for free. Oh, the places you'll go and the guilt trips you'll travel as your ego plays judge and slams down the gavel. But you always can get some relief from your shame by projecting it on the others you want to blame. For that is the ego at its beastiest best. It nurses its grievances close to its chest. Republican, liberal, your parents, your ex, the world is just teeming with folks to correct. If only those folks would conform to your ways, you could get into life without further delays. The ego is always finding new gripes to complain about, turns molehills into mountains of stuff to feel pain about. Sometimes the ego stuff gets you so crabby, you come down with a cold or feel totally crappy. There's no time for rest, so get up out of bed. If you're just here and now, you won't get ahead. Oh, the places you'll go and the people you'll see, all through the lens of what's in it for me. Because the ego believes there is something it lacks, and until it is found, it won't let you relax. Perhaps you'll find it in the next one you date, true love at first sight, with a soul kind of mate. The romance is hot till the climate turns cold, because when two halves collide, they don't make a whole. So the ego moves on, so ever constantly striving, addicted to seeking, but afraid of arriving. You're traveling fast at the speed of surviving, with fear in the driver's seat doing the driving. Or maybe you are on the fast track to success. You're constantly driven to be great, better, best. You're a mover and shaker, a real-time achiever. You're a real self-made man or a dazzling diva. You're rich and you're famous and you make quite a splash. You're on top of the world and you're rolling in cash. You drive the right car, you married the right spouse. Today, lunch with Oprah. Tomorrow, the White House. But at night, insecurity pays you a call, because you know any time you could lose it all. Your shrink says to rest, and your spouse sure agrees. Your doctor says ulcers, take 14 of these. You know you should slow it down sooner or later, but your foot is glued to the accelerator. Your ego consoles, well, at least you're successful. It's a sign of success to be constantly stressful. You made it to prime time and everyone loves you, but your self-esteem is based on what others think of you. And opinions can change in the blink of an eye, which is why you need meds just to sleep and get by. One day when you say it failed and succeeded enough, you'll witness your ego exposed in the buff. And you'll realize behind all that protective clothing that the ego is simply a state of self-loathing. And beyond that, you realize the biggest of deals. You've dreamt up your ego. It's not even real. So for richer or poorer, in all kinds of health, you make a commitment to loving yourself. You release the projections you placed upon others and find through forgiveness that peace is discovered. You'll realize the love you searched for outside you is what you are made of and can't be denied you. So you let go of your worries, your plans, and your pills, and put some logs on the fire and learn how to chill. Your old superstitions have gone up in smoke, like you can't rest in peace until after you croak. You no longer fear death, and for that matter, life. And you know that everything is safe and all right. While resting in peace, you will soon be inspired to go out in the world with some newfound desires. Desires that spring from your heart and your soul. Wherever they take you, you're going there whole. For the ego is now in the passenger seat. Let down your window and take in the treats. There's no need to hurry. Just relax and take it slow, because the journey's as rich as the places you go. And where you're going, you don't need to know, because the journey will be as rich as the places you go.
Nobody steps forward, I'd like to play one.
All right. Maybe Bruce wrote that. But as I think about the ego and self-examination, another word that comes to mind, well, recently I was given a book of humor. It's called God is Cool. And it's kind of based on the Buddhist philosophy, and it's a bunch of cartoons and one-liner jokes. And there's a picture of two monks, and they're standing side by side, and they're looking at two doors. And on one door it says, perpetual suffering, grief, pain. I think that's all it said. And on the other door it said, enlightenment, peace, and love. And the one monk looks at the other and he said, looks like a no-brainer to me. You know, when we start examining our lives, I'm sure each one of us will find places of conflict within ourselves. And I like to call it self-conflict resolution, because that's what it boils down to. They have courses on it in college. Some people are conflict resolution people, and they make a living at it. But I think it's a skill that maybe all of us could brush up on. And maybe when you're looking at these conflicts, maybe you could think back of the joke of the two monks, the two doors, because that's really what it boils down to. You have these conflicts and you're thinking about, what do I do? Well, your choice can bring you the door with all the agony and grief and suffering, or it can bring you peace and joy, satisfaction. There's something else to consider when you're working on this conflict resolution. It's a thing called harmony. And when you're making your choices and when you're looking at all of the factors that create this conflict, how many of those factors or how many of your options are in harmony with the universe, within harmony of what you believe and what you feel? If you look at societies all over the world, every society, every place where there's conflict and violence and war, the quality of life is growing. But that goes within your own personal life as well. What is the state of your relationships? Bruce brought out a point in a mini message a while back about most theology are based on obedience. Well, what your decisions are, how does that relate to the harmony within your body, within your community, within the universe? It's about your relationships. How about your eating habits, your television and radio habits, your driving habits? A person was standing by the corner with a can out for money, and he gave me the peace sign and held his hand out like this, can out like this, and I just waved and went on, and I looked in the mirror, and he took half his peace sign back. But we have so many opportunities every day to confront the conflict in our own life. And when we take action, even if it's just thought, about these conflicts, how much of that is based on ego? How much of that is based on harmony? How hard do we work at our own personal conflict resolution? When somebody else has a problem, we jump right up. I'll be happy to listen to you and be objective and think about the good of the whole. Think about how this relationship or this problem can bring the solution can bring a little more harmony into your life, other than the conflict and the turmoil. I started with that poem, Ego. Once every month, my group plays over at the Senior Center in Sebastopol, and it's right behind Copperfields. And I usually get done playing and go down to the Gypsy, walk through Copperfields, go to the Gypsy Cafe and have a BLT with Canadian bacon with honey on it. And then I come back and I do a little perusing at Copperfields. And I was there the other day, and a lady, I always look at the bestsellers. There's a new book out called What 40 Million American Women Want. And there was a lady there looking at a copy of it. And all of a sudden, this young guy, about 40 years old, just walks up and yanks the book out of her hand. She said, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" And he's going through it like this. He said, "I'll give it back in a minute. I'm just making sure they spelled my name right."
Oh, my.
That was actually just a story. But how many times does our ego, does our subconscious, do the old habits have maybe a little too much influence in our decision-making processes, in our personal conflict resolution? We keep having the same kind of conflicts. Maybe our reaction to those might change a bit. You know, the Wayne Dyer thing. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. No, it's just take a look at ourselves. All of us have created this ego. All of us have habits. But we have the wherewithal, the freedom to shift that a bit. Transcend the old habits. Think about conflict resolution rather than, I just need an answer to this problem. Because problem is a conflict, or it wouldn't be called a problem. We have such a wonderful community here. And we have conflicts within that community. Sometimes personalities clash a little bit. But all of us take a step back. Every time this occurs, take a step back and we think about, this is my community. This is my family. What kind of a resolution can we make here that will wind up being okay with everybody? What will maintain the harmony within this community? If we have the same attitude about ourselves, I think we'll like what we find. Be truthful with yourself. We can't be anybody else. We are who we are. And when we can accept that and love that and deal with the conflicts that come up based on the good of the whole, harmony within my body, harmony within my family, within my community, harmony with nature and the universe, I think our lives will be richer. And you work me right out of a job. Let's stand up together now and sing. I'd like to teach the world to be in harmony, to sing and live and love in harmony.